The romantic comedy That Touch of Mink, 1962, brought joy to millions with its sparkling performances and timeless charm. Yet behind the glamorous facade of this beloved film lies a sobering reminder of mortality's reach. From sudden strokes to tragic murder-suicides, the talented cast members who made audiences laugh and swoon have gradually departed this world, leaving only their immortal performances as testaments to their artistry. Their deaths span nearly 6 decades, each carrying its own heartbreak and representing the end of Hollywood's golden era. Cary Grant. Cary Grant played Philip Shane, the wealthy businessman whose charm and sophistication made him irresistible to Doris Day's character in That Touch of Mink. His performance captured everything audiences loved about him: the perfect blend of stout calm, romance, wit, and elegance that made him one of Hollywood's greatest leading men. At 58 years old when the film was made, Grant proved he could still command the screen with the same magnetic presence that had captivated audiences for decades. Born Archibald Leach in Bristol, England, in 1904, Grant's early life was far from glamorous. His father worked in a factory, and his mother disappeared from his life when he was just 11 years old, though he wouldn't learn until much later that she had been committed to a mental institution. As a teenager, he ran away to join a traveling acrobatic troupe, which eventually brought him to America in 1920. Grant's transformation from Archibald Leach to Cary Grant happened gradually as he worked his way up through vaudeville and small theater roles. By the 1930s, he had become one of Hollywood's most bankable stars, appearing in classics like North by Northwest, An Affair to Remember, and The Philadelphia Story. His unique accent, which came from trying to lose his working-class English roots, became his trademark. Directors loved working with him because he brought professionalism and attention to detail to every role. On November 29, 1986, Grant was in Davenport, Iowa, preparing for his touring show A Conversation with Cary Grant, when he began feeling ill during rehearsals. He suffered a massive stroke backstage at the theater, with his blood pressure reaching 210 over 130. Despite his condition worsening rapidly, Grant initially refused to go to the hospital. By 8:45 that evening, he had slipped into a coma and was rushed to St. Luke's Hospital, where he died at 11:22 p.m. He was 82 years old. Grant's death truly marked the end of Hollywood's golden age of leading men. He represented a type of sophisticated masculinity that seemed to disappear with him, leaving behind a legacy of films that continue to enchant new generations of viewers. Gig Young. Gig Young played Roger, Cary Grant's loyal financial advisor, and moral conscience in That Touch of Mink. His performance brought warmth and humor to the role of a man genuinely concerned about his boss's romantic schemes, serving as both comic relief and the voice of reason throughout the film. Young's natural charm and comedic timing made Roger feel like the kind of friend everyone wishes they had, someone who cares enough to speak up when you're making questionable decisions, even if you don't want to hear it. Born Byron Ellsworth Barr in St. Cloud, Minnesota. In 1913, Young grew up in Washington, D.C., where his father worked as a reformatory chef. He discovered his love for acting in high school plays and eventually earned a scholarship to the Pasadena Community Playhouse in California. His stage name came from a character he played in the 1942 film The Gay Sisters, where preview audiences responded so positively to Gig Young that the studio decided he should keep the name permanently. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, Young became Hollywood's go-to supporting actor, often playing the charming friend who didn't get the girl but won audiences' hearts anyway. His biggest triumph came in 1969 when he won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role as the sleazy dance marathon MC in They Shoot Horses, Don't They? The victory should have been the highlight of his career, but Young himself once said that so many Oscar nominees had bad luck afterward, and sadly, his words proved prophetic. By the 1970s, Young's career began declining as alcoholism took control of his life. He was fired from Mel Brooks's Blazing Saddles after just one day due to alcohol-related problems. On September 27, 1978, Young married his fifth wife, 31-year-old German magazine editor Kim Schmidt, whom he had met while working on Bruce Lee's final film, Game of Death. Just 3 weeks later, on October 19th, the couple was found dead in their Manhattan apartment. Police determined that Young had shot his wife in the back of the head before turning the gun on himself. Despite the tragic end to his life, Gig Young's talent and contributions to cinema deserve to be remembered for the joy he brought to countless films and the genuine warmth he shared with audiences. Alan Hewitt. Alan Hewitt played Dr. Gruber, the confused psychiatrist who tries to help Gig Young's character Roger deal with his guilt over his boss's romantic conquests in That Touch of Mink. Though his role was relatively small, Hewitt brought his trademark serious demeanor and perfect comedic timing to the part, creating memorable moments as the bewildered therapist trying to make sense of Roger's unusual moral dilemmas. His firm-jawed, authoritative presence made him the perfect choice for playing professionals who found themselves in over their heads. Born on January 21, 1915, in Manhattan, New York, Hewitt showed an early interest in acting that led him to Dartmouth College, where he graduated at the remarkably young age of 19. His acting debut came even earlier, in a school production when he was just 10 years old. After college, he quickly made his mark on Broadway, appearing in prestigious productions alongside theater legends like Alfred Lunt and Lynn Fontanne, in The Taming of the Shrew, and later in Amphitryon 38 and The Seagull. During World War II, Hewitt served in the Army's Armed Forces Radio Service from 1943 to 1946, which helped prepare him for his later success in both radio and television. When he returned to civilian life, he became one of the hardest-working character actors in Hollywood, appearing in dozens of films and television shows. His most recognizable role came as Detective Brennan on the sitcom My Favorite Martian, where his perpetually suspicious nature provided the perfect foil to the show's alien visitor. He also appeared regularly in Disney films throughout the 1960s, often playing stern authority figures who added tension to the studio's family comedies. Hewitt's dedication to his craft extended beyond acting into advocacy for performers' rights. He served on the Council of Actors' Equity Association for 11 years, and helped establish employment surveys for theater performers. His commitment to improving working conditions for actors showed the same professionalism he brought to every role. On November 7, 1986, Alan Hewitt died of cancer at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City. He was 71 years old. Hewitt represented the best of Hollywood's character actors, reliable, professional, and able to elevate any scene with his presence, no matter how small the role. Dick Sargent. Dick Sargent played Harry Clark, a nervous young honeymooner who commiserates with Cary Grant's character at a Bermuda resort in That Touch of Mink. Though his appearance was brief, Sargent's natural ability to portray anxious, well-meaning characters made the scene memorable and relatable. His performance showed the comedic talent that would later make him a household name, demonstrating his gift for playing ordinary men dealing with extraordinary situations in ways that audiences could connect with and laugh about. Born Richard Cox in Carmel, California, on April 19, 1930, Sargent grew up in a Hollywood family where his mother had been a silent film actress and his father worked as a business manager for major stars like Douglas Fairbanks. Despite this connection to the entertainment industry, Sargent's path to acting wasn't immediate. He attended Stanford University, where he studied drama and appeared in over 25 student productions, gradually discovering his passion for performance and developing the skills that would serve him throughout his career. Sargent's early career included supporting roles in films like Operation Petticoat with Cary Grant and Tony Curtis, but his biggest break came in 1969 when he replaced Dick York as Darren Stevens on the hit television series Bewitched. Taking over such a well-established role could have been career suicide. But Sargent, brought his own interpretation to the character, playing Darren with a more relaxed, easygoing approach that quickly won over fans. He continued in the role for the show's final 3 seasons, cementing his place in television history as the second Darren. Throughout his career, Sargent maintained his privacy about his personal life, even creating a fictional ex-wife for publicity purposes to protect himself in an era when being openly gay could end an actor's career. In 1989, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and 2 years later, on National Coming Out Day in 1991, he publicly announced that he was gay. He spent his remaining years advocating for LGBTQ rights and speaking out against discrimination, calling himself a retroactive role model for young gay people. On July 8, 1994, Dick Sargent died from prostate cancer at the age of 64. His courage in coming out during his final years and his advocacy work created a lasting impact beyond his entertainment career, showing that it's never too late to live authentically. Audrey Meadows. Audrey Meadows played Connie Emerson, Doris Day's sharp-tongued roommate and best friend in That Touch of Mink. Her performance brought perfect balance to the film, serving as both the voice of reason and comic relief as she watched her naive friend get swept up in romance with Cary Grant's wealthy businessman. Meadows delivered her wisecracking lines with impeccable timing, creating a character who felt like the kind of loyal friend everyone needs, someone who tells you the truth even when you don't want to hear it, but always has your back when things get complicated. Born Audrey Cotter on February 8, 1922, in New York City, Meadows came from a family of missionaries who had been working in China when she was born. Her parents were Episcopal missionaries in Wuchang, and she spoke only Chinese when the family returned to the United States in the 1930s. Her sister Jane also became an actress, and both sisters changed their last name from Cotter to Meadows as they pursued their entertainment careers together as teenagers. Meadows made her mark on Broadway first, appearing in the musical Top Banana with Phil Silvers in 1950, one before transitioning to television. Her career-defining role came when she was cast as Alice Cramden on The Honeymooners in 1952, replacing the original actress who had been blacklisted. Initially, Jackie Gleason rejected Meadows for being too attractive to play a bus driver's wife, but she cleverly submitted a plain photo of herself without makeup and won the part. Her portrayal of Alice became legendary, holding her own against Gleason's larger-than-life Ralph Cramden and creating one of television's strongest female characters. After The Honeymooners ended, Meadows largely stepped away from acting when she married Continental Airlines chairman Robert Six, focusing on business activities and serving as the first woman director of First National Bank of Denver. She returned to television in the 1970s for Honeymooners reunions and later played Ted Knight's mother-in-law on Too Close for Comfort. In 1995, Meadows was diagnosed with lung cancer and given only a year to live. True to her private nature, she kept her illness secret from everyone, including her sister Jane, until newspapers discovered her hospitalization. On February 3, 1996, just 5 days before her 74th birthday, Audrey Meadows died at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Her legacy lives on through her unforgettable television performances and her pioneering work as a businesswoman. Delbert Mann. Delbert Mann directed That Touch of Mink, with the same intimate, character-focused approach that had made him famous in television, bringing a sense of warmth and authenticity to what could have been just another glossy Hollywood romantic comedy. His direction allowed the natural chemistry between Cary Grant and Doris Day to shine while keeping the supporting characters feeling like real people rather than just comic relief. Mann's television background helped him create moments that felt genuine and spontaneous, making the film more engaging and believable than many similar movies of the era. Born on January 30, 1920, in Lawrence, Kansas, Mann discovered his love for theater while attending Vanderbilt University, where he met his future wife Anne Gillespie on his very first day of school. After graduating in 1941, he served as a bomber pilot during World War II, taking advantage of being stationed in England to see as many London theatre productions as possible. Following the war, he earned his Master of Fine Arts degree from the Yale School of Drama, where he honed the skills that would make him one of television's most respected directors. Mann's career took off in 1949 when he joined NBC and began directing live television dramas for prestigious shows like the Philco Television Playhouse. Over the next 6 years, he directed more than 100 live television productions, including the original version of Marty in 1953. When he adapted Marty for the big screen in 1955, the film became a surprise hit, winning Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Screenplay, and Best Director. Mann became one of the few directors to win an Oscar for their very first film, and Marty also became the first American movie to win the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. Throughout the 1960s, Mann continued directing both television and feature films, including The Bachelor Party, Separate Tables, and Lover Come Back, with Doris Day and Rock Hudson. He served as president of the Directors Guild of America from 1967 to 1971 and continued working well into his 80s, directing television movies like All Quiet on the Western Front. On November 11, 2007, Delbert Mann died of pneumonia at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles at the age of 87. His death marked the end of an era for a director who successfully bridged the gap between television and cinema, bringing intimacy and authenticity to both mediums. Doris Day. Doris Day played Kathy Timberlake, the innocent working girl who captures the heart of Cary Grant's wealthy businessman in That Touch of Mink. Her performance embodied everything audiences loved about her, the perfect combination of wholesome charm, comedic timing, and genuine warmth that made her America's sweetheart. At 39 years old when the film was made, Day proved she could still play the romantic lead with convincing vulnerability while bringing depth to what could have been a simple character, creating a woman who was both naive and surprisingly strong-willed. Born Doris Mary Kappelhoff on April 3, 1922, in Cincinnati, Ohio, Day originally dreamed of becoming a dancer until a car accident at age 13 left her with a badly injured leg that ended those hopes. While recovering, she discovered her singing voice and began performing with local bands as a teenager, eventually changing her name to Doris Day, when bandleader Barney Rapp suggested it sounded better than Kappelhoff. Her big break came when she joined Les Brown's band and recorded Sentimental Journey, which became a massive hit during World War II. Day's transition from singing to acting happened almost by accident when she was cast in Romance on the High Seas in 1948 as a last-minute replacement for Betty Hutton. The film's success launched a movie career that would span nearly 4 decades and 39 films, including classics like Calamity Jane, The Man Who Knew Too Much, and her series of romantic comedies with Rock Hudson. She became the #1 box office star in America during the early 1960s, known for playing characters who maintained their moral standards while navigating romantic complications. Behind her sunny public image, Day's personal life was marked by tragedy and betrayal. Her third husband and manager, Martin Melcher, died suddenly in 1968, and Day discovered that he and her lawyer had stolen her entire fortune, leaving her deeply in debt. She was forced to honor television contracts Melcher had signed without her knowledge, leading to The Doris Day Show, which she disliked but needed for financial survival. After retiring from entertainment in the early 1970s, Day devoted herself entirely to animal welfare, founding the Doris Day Animal Foundation and becoming one of Hollywood's most dedicated animal rights activists. On May 13, 2019, at the age of 97, Doris Day died of pneumonia at her Carmel Valley home, surrounded by her beloved animals. She remained the last surviving main star of That Touch of Mink, leaving behind a legacy of joy and kindness both on screen and in her tireless work for animals.